This is Local 3 News at 4.
The CEO of Norfolk Southern answers questions on Capitol Hill about the recent train derailments.
President Biden has unveiled his budget plan. We'll look at the key priorities on his administration's agenda.
The Chattanooga Police Department has changed the way they respond to traffic accidents. We'll have a status report. Thank you for watching on this Thursday. I'm David Carroll.
And I'm Cindy Sexton.
Cedric Haynes is gearing up for more treatment for his back problems. And by the way, his birthday is this Saturday. So Cedric, we know you're watching. We're thinking of you, and we hope everything goes well.
We'll be singing happy birthday to him on Saturday. Well, Clay Smith is here right now with a look at our forecast. Clay?
Well, Cindy, David, we are tracking out just a couple of showers. And if you're watching, Cedric, what's up? Can't wait to sing you happy birthday as well. But as we take a look at the radar, not a whole lot going on. Again, we've had a couple of sporadic, very light showers. So not very impactful for that evening commute home to work. Just a couple of light showers in northern Sequatchie. Here in Chattanooga, mainly just overcast and gloomy conditions. But we do have a little shower moving through the northern part of Bradley County. Again, this is very light. But if you're heading up 75 just north of Cleveland, you're likely to run into at least a good, I would say, couple minutes of rain heading into McMinn County. But again, outside of that, things are looking pretty good on this Thursday evening. But tonight we are going to be tracking another cold front. Notice that's going to bring a little more moisture back into the area. Again, not going to be a complete washout, but if you are going to be heading out and about tonight into early Friday morning, you are going to have to contend with some wet roadways. But again, after this pushes through, we're going to have some nice weather come back into the area for your Friday afternoon into Saturday before our next round of rain by the end of the weekend. But again, for your evening commute out, some wet roadways down across northern portions of Georgia, just a little stripe across portions of Bradley and northern Hamilton County. So you might want to give yourself a little extra time out there, but overall, things are looking pretty good out there, and temperatures are a little bit cool. 57 here in Chattanooga, 54 in Atlanta, much warmer to the south, but here locally, temperatures again pretty consistently in the 50s from Murphy all the way into Altamont. So a little bit cool, especially considering it's been so mild lately. But as we continue to go into the overnight hours, rain chances will start to bump up with temperatures holding steady around 50. So we'll talk more about that and what you can expect for your Friday coming up here in just about 15 minutes.
Clay, thank you. There have been 3 train derailments in Ohio this month. 2 of them were Norfolk Southern trains. And in Oklahoma, a train derailed temporarily with no injuries. Yesterday in West Virginia, a rock slide caused a train to derail, injuring 3 crew members. The NTSB is on its way to Calhoun County, Alabama, near Birmingham, to investigate another Norfolk Southern train derailment. This happened just hours before CEO Alan Shaw answered questions on Capitol Hill about the Ohio derailments. In Alabama today, there were no reports of injuries, no hazardous leak. The train was en route from Atlanta to Meridian, Mississippi, and the cause has not yet been determined.
Norfolk Southern CEO Alan Shaw was in the hot seat today facing lawmakers. He testified in the wake of the derailment that led to a toxic chemical spill and evacuation in East Palestine, Ohio. Shaw vowed to clean the site and keep open communications with residents.
I want to begin today by expressing how deeply sorry I am for the impact this derailment has had on the residents of East Palestine and the surrounding communities. There are no strings attached to our assistance. If residents have a concern, we want them to come talk to us.
Shaw has been CEO of Norfolk Southern since last May.
President Biden has unveiled his budget proposal, which addresses some of his priorities, including child care, housing, and retirement funding.
Now, those programs like Medicare and Social Security have posed problems for decades. The fight over how to continue to fund them is heating up. Mike Valerio has details.
Entitlements have long been a hot-button issue.
People felt like it was the third rail of American politics.
And solutions to funding them still seem out of reach.
I will put Medicare and Social Security in a lockbox.
Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security account for more than a third of the federal budget and provide a critical safety net for tens of millions of Americans, especially retirees. But as the number of people relying on those programs grows, the money is running out.
There's a commitment we have to people to age with dignity, but there's an awful lot of abuse and waste that goes on.
The White House hopes to address the crisis in President Biden's 2024 budget proposal.
I will protect Social Security and Medicare without any change.
The document includes a plan to fund a key piece of Medicare through the 2050s by raising taxes on Americans making $400,000 or more a year and allowing Medicare more leeway in negotiating drug prices.
My budget will not cut benefits, and it will definitely won't sunset programs.
The White House says the budget likewise includes provisions to shore up Social Security and lower Medicaid spending, while also expanding health care access. But with Republicans in control of the House, the plan will be dead on arrival when it reaches Capitol Hill, though GOP leadership insists
there is no agenda on the part of Senate Republicans to revisit Medicare or Social Security. Period.
Just how they plan to tackle the issue remains in question as congressional Republicans prepare their own budget expected in the spring. I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
Tennessee Senator Bill Hagerty talked to our partners at Mix 104.1 in Cleveland about the president's budget plan.
They'll be focused on reducing the debt and the deficit. All they're talking about is continuing this rampant spending and then just jacking up taxes on hardworking Americans. I'm certain that it's going to be a non-starter.
Hagerty said more details will be released in the coming weeks, and he said the debt is because of irresponsible behavior from both parties.
Hamilton County District Attorney Cody Wamp released a statement after a bill was signed by Governor Lee limiting cabaret performances. Wamp says the legislation does not allow for the prosecution of entities, just people. She says it shields people from being prosecuted who are playing in a role or performance with no sexual connotation. She says the law states if a stripper or a drag queen were to perform in front of a child, that person would be prosecuted. But the rumors that drag shows are banned in Tennessee is simply false.
Several people were hurt in a head-on crash on Standifer Gap Road yesterday. The Tri-Community Volunteer Fire Department extricated multiple people who were trapped inside one of the cars. One person was flown to the hospital. 2 others were transported by Hamilton County EMS.
Chattanooga police have released crash data just a few months after changing the way they respond to crash calls. Police responded to 1/3 of traffic accident calls. The new policy allows officers to focus more on crime instead of minor car crashes by limiting the types of crashes officers respond to. There are only 8 reasons an officer can respond to a crash, like if there's an injury or if it was a hit and run. In January, more than 1,200 crashes were reported, and police responded to only 348. Last month, more than 1,100 crashes were reported. Officers responded to 374.
In Meigs County, the Decatur Fire Department put out a brush fire on Hillcrest Circle. They found vegetation and timber burning, and they were able to extinguish the fire in the woods.
Coming up next on Local 3 News at 4, the Hamilton County School Board is meeting tonight. The budget is on the agenda.
And an asteroid could be your Valentine's Day gift in about 40 years or so. How close is it to home?
All right, we're taking a look at traffic right now. This is I-24. It's east of the Welcome Center. It's moving slowly, but it is moving out there right now. We're keeping an eye on traffic for you, and we'll bring you up to date.
In Chattanooga, a man was arrested for a dumpster fire yesterday near the Emma Wheeler homes. Firefighters quickly got the fire under control, and there were several children playing nearby. Ladarius Lane is charged with setting fire to personal property.
In school patrol, the Hamilton County Board of Education will hold a budget committee meeting this evening at 5:30. This is the first meeting to discuss the upcoming budget.
Grundy County High School now has fire-safe doors. Grundy County Schools says Danny Temple's Construction is responsible for the installations. They now have safe doors in compliance with fire codes. And coming up next, a medication shortage is affecting two very common drugs, and this could change the way you get your medicine.
Supplies of the medications albuterol and Adderall are short. Albuterol is commonly used to treat breathing problems and Adderall to help people with ADHD.
Abigail Martin spoke with a pharmacist about the shortages.
Typically, they're not drugs that are really common like these two.
Phil Smith, a pharmacist at Access Pharmacy, says there are over 100 drugs on backorder at any given time. Typically, albuterol and Adderall are not on the list. He says he cannot get a straight answer on why the common medications are on backorder. The FDA lists a demand increase as the reason Adderall is in short supply. Their website does not provide a reason for the albuterol shortage. Smith says people use albuterol for asthma and COPD,
chronic disorder, pulmonary disease.
It can't be cured, so they just kind of treat it symptomatically with albuterol and steroids and other things.
Smith says those with COPD and asthma naturally have a harder time during allergy season, and he hopes the issue will be resolved before then. He says Access Pharmacy is teaching people how to use inhalers as an alternative. Smith says people with extreme COPD should continue to find the nebulizer solution. If the shortage continues, Smith says his pharmacy will make necessary changes.
We might have to reserve anything that is available for people who are severe, who need it the most.
Smith says the Adderall shortage has caused issues with other medications to treat ADHD. He says this affects the everyday life of patients who need it. Smith says typically people only consider children to need the ADHD medicine, but he says the drug can act like a lifeline to kids and adults alike. Smith says there are other options for Adderall, but they may not be covered by insurance.
Typically it clears up pretty quick. I mean, you know, the United States is pretty good with dealing with these things.
Well, the FDA is saying 126 drugs are currently in shortage. Smith says he hopes the pharmacy can go back to where it was 6 weeks ago. He could place an order then and have confidence the medicines would arrive the next day.
Later this month, you can take a storm spotter training class. Now, spotters are the eyes and ears on the ground for the National Weather Service and a big help to our storm alert team as well. There's a class in Marion County on the 21st, Bradley County on the 23rd, and Cherokee County, North Carolina on the 30th. To register, you can find the link inside our app.
Walker County officials say spring is just a few days, and now it's important to be aware of the changing weather. They say one of their most dangerous weather events is flash flooding, and they want you to remember these 3 fast facts. Just 6 inches of moving water can knock a person down. 2 feet of moving water can sweep away a vehicle, and a warning means take action. A watch means be prepared.
The National Weather Service has confirmed a tornado last week in Gordon County, Georgia. An EF1 tornado occurred on Friday, and this was between Calhoun and Fairmount. The tornado had a maximum wind speed of 90 miles per hour, ranged for about 3 miles, and damaged a barn. Meteorologist Clay Smith is watching the forecast for you in the Storm Alert Center.
He has a look at our forecast, and it sure did change somewhat today. I guess we're getting rain later, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, right now things are mainly just gloomy. Now we are going to be tracking out more rain later tonight, but so far this evening we've just had a couple of pockets of drizzle, and that will continue before the rain starts to pick up a little overnight. But for your temperatures, it's much cooler than what we've been accustomed to over the last couple of weeks. Not in the 70s, we're actually in the 50s, which is more typical of this time of the year, 57 in Chattanooga. But notice as we take a look at the radar, just not a whole lot to talk about. A couple of light showers rolling through the northern tier. And again, this is mainly just pockets of drizzle, more or less. You can see a decent little shower moving through the northern part of Bradley and southern McMinn counties, and that's going to continue to push off to the east. So again, the rain will pick up a little bit later, but right now, things are looking pretty good. So if you're heading home from work, no major issues. But as this low pressure starts to wind up and continue pushing across the Ohio Valley, it's going to drag this cold front into the region. Now, this will bring more rain as we go into the overnight hours. I think the best chance will be between about midnight and 6 a.m. Friday, and then after that we'll start to clear out. So this is a quick hitting system, not going to be very impactful, and the good news with that, no severe weather. If you recall, last Friday, very busy across the Tennessee Valley. Not going to be the case as we go into this Friday, but there are a couple of wet spots on the roadways into Sequatchie, northern Hamilton, extending into northern Polk and Cherokee counties, also south of Calhoun across North Georgia heading to Atlanta. So just be mindful of that. You might want to give yourself a couple of extra minutes. And if you're going to be traveling out tonight or early tomorrow morning, notice how those rain chances start to increase after midnight. But hey, by tomorrow mid-morning, things are going to be looking much better, and we'll even get some Friday afternoon sunshine. So hey, not too bad. But as we take a look at your futurecast, cloudy through this evening. Again, a few pockets of drizzle certainly will be possible between now and about 11 a.m. And then after midnight, that cold front approaches. But again, futurecast really not all that impressed with the system that's coming through. Just a couple of spotty showers between midnight and 6 a.m. There could be a localized downpour here or there, but again, we're not expecting any flooding or anything like that. And this is all going to be moving west to east. And by 7 o'clock from Chattanooga northbound, should be dry with some cloud cover. And those showers will be exiting North Georgia after about 8 a.m. And then look what happens as we go into the mid-morning. Yeah, that's clearing skies, which means sunshine for your Friday. So overall, it is going to be a very nice day Friday into your Saturday as well. But then we're going to be tracking a more significant system. Now, it doesn't look like we're going to have any severe weather going into the second system, but this will be coming in Saturday night into Sunday as a low pressure tracks here across the mid-south. There could be some snow to the north, but we're talking way to our north across portions of the northern Ohio Valley. And then as we go into your Sunday, it does look like we are going to have quite a bit of rain. Could be heavy at times moving across much of the Tennessee Valley. So Sunday, probably going to be one of those days where you want to have a movie day and just stay indoors. But as we go into late Sunday, that rain moves out and then we're going to dry out. So it is going to be nice Monday, Tuesday into Wednesday. But here's a look at your futurecast rainfall. First system, maybe upwards of 1/4 inch, so just enough to wet the ground. System number 2, we could have over 1 inch of rain in spots. So it looks like that second system that's coming in Saturday night to Sunday is certainly going to be more impactful. And then we're going to dry out and it's going to be nice and calm Monday, Tuesday into Wednesday, so no complaints there. And as we take a look at your 7-day forecast, again, remember we spring forward late Saturday into Sunday. I believe 2 a.m. Sunday we'll add an hour on, so you're going to lose that hour of sleep. And then going into your Sunday, rain, and then nice and much cooler as we move into next week.
Thank you very much, Clay. The 6-year-old student who shot his teacher in Virginia in January will not face charges. Officials say the prospect of a 6-year-old standing trial would be problematic. It has yet to be decided whether any adults associated with the case could be held criminally liable. The teacher's lawyers say the student had a history of behavioral issues as well as a troubling pattern of troubling interactions with staff members and students.
Russia unleashed a massive rocket attack that hit critical infrastructure and residential buildings in 10 regions of Ukraine today. At least 6 people died in the largest nighttime attack in 3 weeks. The missile attack left almost half of the residents in Kyiv without power. Russia launched 81 missiles and 8 exploding drones. According to Ukrainian officials, the war has largely ground to a battlefield stalemate over the winter. The last massive barrage was February 16th.
NASA is tracking a new asteroid that has a slight chance of hitting Earth on Valentine's Day 2046. It's about the size of an Olympic swimming pool. Scientists say the chance of it actually striking Earth are about 1 in 600. NASA calls it extremely unlikely, and there's no cause for concern.
Coming up next on Local 3 News at 4. ChatGPT can write just about anything for you using just a few keywords. How is this new AI technology, impacting colleges? The latest breakthrough in artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, is exploding in popularity on social media and in the classroom. The tool understands prompts and generates human-like responses.
This could save us a lot of work. Anybody can type in a prompt online, and within seconds, voila, the tool writes a news story, emails, research papers, and more. Liz Bateson has the story.
ChatGPT has taken the tech industry by storm. It can answer questions on a wide range of topics from history and literature to science and math. It's been implemented in several colleges across the United States, including Brown University. So, how realistic is it? Well, everything you just heard wasn't written by me, but ChatGPT.
What it's kind of literally done or trained to do or is supposed to do is predict the next word in a sentence. The dog, and then predict what comes next, and it'll be like slept, and then it predicts what comes next, like on the couch or something like that.
You type in a prompt, and within seconds, it can write a news story, emails, research papers, and more.
I asked ChatGPT to write an essay for me about the use of the program on Rhode Island college campuses. It came up with a 7-paragraph essay with specific examples from Providence College and Brown University.
Since its debut in November, it's exploded in popularity.
I've spent so many sleepless nights trying to fill a blank page, and for me, this new technology means that the war on the blank page is over.
URI Associate Professor Stephen Atlas believes it can help students work more efficiently and with better understanding, but he knows others are weary of it.
One of the major concerns is how to properly document this as a source and how to give credit where credit is due. So in an email, this can be something as simple as adding an email footer saying this email was generated with help from ChatGPT.
Atlas says at URI, university leaders are letting each individual professor set the policy on whether or not it's allowed in their classroom. At Brown University, professors also haven't been told not to use it.
Is that really going to solve the problem? You want students to be able to access resources that might help them understand better. So it's more about trying to design evaluations that are in many ways hard to fake.
Liz Bateson with that report. Some colleges are restructuring some courses and taking preventive measures.
Coming up next, changes could be coming to how people get married in Tennessee. We'll tell you about a new bill making its way through the State House.
This is Local 3 News at 4.
People who perform marriages in Tennessee could refuse to solemnize a marriage if they don't agree with it.
And Tennessee pastors are pleading with lawmakers to change gun laws.
Plus, the Supreme Court is asking for funding for security after the leaked abortion rights draft. Thank you for staying with us for this second half hour of Local 3 News at 4. I'm Cindy Sexton.
And I'm David Carroll. Certain people planning to get married in Tennessee could be turned away as a result of a bill that was recently passed by the State House of Representatives.
Our Dallas Payton joins us now to explain. Dallas.
Cindy, David, the bill simply says it prohibits a person from being required to solemnize a marriage. When the bill was first introduced by Representative Monty Fritz, it stated that a person is not required to solemnize a marriage based on their conscience or religious beliefs. Several state representatives say as of now, no one is required to do so, but the bill would make that clear.
A documentation of the rights of every person, and those who take that solemn task of performing a marriage ceremony certainly deserve to have it documented in our laws that they can refuse to perform those ceremonies.
Fritz says the bill doesn't infringe on anyone's rights. Later this evening, you'll hear from a woman who believes the bill is targeting the LGBTQ+ community. David.
Thank you very much, Dallas. The Respect for Marriage Act was signed into law in December. The president held a signing ceremony at the White House. The bipartisan legislation requires states to recognize same-sex and interracial marriages and guarantees federal benefits. The president delivered a speech to supporters, vowing to continue the work for future generations.
Tennessee faith leaders and advocates are calling for a common sense policy surrounding gun control. Multiple bills were up for debate in State House committee hearings yesterday that would loosen gun regulations. One bill would expand permitless carry to include all firearms, including assault-style rifles. That vote was postponed.
What we all long for is safety for everyone and the comfort of knowing that neither themselves nor their loved ones will come to an early and unexpected demise from gun violence.
A group of pastors sent a letter to Governor Lee asking for universal background checks, firearm training, and the support of red flag laws, which are laws that do not allow people convicted of assault or abuse to carry guns. The bill that would expand permitless carry will be voted on in the Civil Justice Committee on Wednesday of next week. It will then have to pass in the House and the Senate.
Here are the gun laws in our states. Tennessee, Georgia, and Alabama are all permitless open carry states. This means anyone at least 21 or older can carry a weapon, open or concealed. In North Carolina, you can carry a gun without a permit if you're 18 or older. A teenage boy is in the hospital and his twin brother is in custody after allegedly shooting him Tuesday near the Marion-Grundy County county line. The brothers got into an argument on the school bus. One allegedly shot the other in the leg after they got off the bus. The injured brother is still being treated. The other is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
Now it is time to check back in with meteorologist Clay Smith. He is in the Storm Alert Center in for Cedric Haynes today.
And we felt a little rain coming all day. Clay, what's the latest?
Yeah, it's been gloomy and the skies really had the look like, oh, it's going to rain at any point, and that's where we're going tonight. We're going to have some rain moving back into the area, but it has been noticeably cooler. In fact, much of the first part of the week, temperatures were up around 78, 79 degrees. Now we're only in the 50s, so you might even need a little bit of a sweatshirt heading out the door or heading home from work on this Thursday evening. But the warm air now kind of getting pressed down to the Gulf Coast. New Orleans, Jackson, still in the 80s, and we're nearly 20 degrees cooler here across the Tennessee Valley. And there's not a very large temperature spread on this Thursday. It's 52 in Athens, the warmest spot. Both Dalton and Chattanooga coming in with 57 degrees, 53 in Murphy. And we're really not going to budge all that much as we go through the rest of the evening, dropping a few degrees overnight into the lower 50s. And as for rain chances, well, if you're heading home right now, not any major issues, at least weather related. We have a couple of sprinkles into Van Buren, Bledsoe, Ray, Meigs counties, extending all the way down into that northern half of Polk County. But this rain is very light and non-impactful. And as we take a look at the next round of rain coming in, again, the slow pressure going to continue to track to the north and east. It's going to bring this cold front across the Tennessee Valley tonight. And notice that moisture starting to pick up across Arkansas. And you can see some of those yellows indicating some heavier rain. So as this pushes through tonight into early Friday morning, that's going to be our best window of rain. Again, earlier today we had a couple of sprinkles, a downpour or two across North Georgia, but overall it's been a mainly dry day with just a lot of cloud cover. But again, If you're going out this evening, there are going to be some wet roadways. Western North Carolina, a little bit of a stripe of wet roadways into northern Polk. But again, it looks like those conditions will start to deteriorate a little bit later tonight as we have some of those rain chances. So again, we're going to drop into the upper 40s to lower 50s by tomorrow morning. We'll have that rain continuing, especially after about midnight, maybe even a little bit of patchy fog. And then the rain ends after about 7 a.m. So the rest of your Friday looking good with temperatures climbing into the 60s and some afternoon sunshine. Increasing clouds Saturday as our next system approaches, but it looks like the rain will hold off until Saturday night. And then Sunday, not the best day to be outdoors. Lows or highs drop back into the 50s with periods of rain. But hey, we will dry out into next week. And then we're talking the potential for frost and maybe even a freeze. So I'll talk more about that with full forecast coming up here in just about 15 minutes.
Right. Thank you, Clay. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is hospitalized with a concussion after falling at a dinner in D.C. A spokesperson for the 81-year-old McConnell said the Republican senator was at a private dinner at a Washington hotel when he tripped. In a statement, McConnell's office said he's being treated at a local hospital and gave no further information.
The Supreme Court is seeking millions of dollars from Congress to improve security following last year's leak of a draft on abortion rights. The $150 million request would cover salaries and expenses. The court asked for about $6 million to expand security activities conducted by Supreme Court police to protect the justices. The court also asked for $585,000 to fund new IT positions that would address cybersecurity issues. The robust job market just might be starting to crack a bit. First-time claims for unemployment insurance jumped 21,000 last week. Claims are at the highest total since late December. And coming up next, a diet that could play a role in preventing Alzheimer's.
From Asheville to Nashville, with a little bit of Murfreesboro mixed in between. The Vols in a tight one right now with Ole Miss in the second round of the SEC tournament. We'll have an update after the break.
You are looking live at I-24 at Rossville Boulevard, and things look pretty ordinary, normal, about as smooth as it can be for rush hour on a Thursday afternoon. No major accidents or delays other than the usual backups that we have every day because of construction, traffic volume, that sort of thing. If anything bad happens, and we hope it doesn't, we'll let you know. Australia's Prime Minister will meet with President Biden and the UK's Prime Minister in San Diego Monday to unveil a submarine plan. This could include the Australian purchase of at least 4 nuclear-powered subs from the US. Australia is also expected to work with the UK on developing a new class of nuclear-powered submarines, which could include parts from the US.
Higher temperatures in the Arctic could lead to potential health threats in the future. NASA climate scientists say the warmer conditions are causing part of the permafrost to thaw. Permafrost is a frozen layer of soil that's beneath the surface. Scientists say if the permafrost thaws significantly, some viruses that have been lying dormant for tens of thousands of years could emerge and possibly endanger animals and humans.
A new study suggests people who eat plant-based Mediterranean types of diets have fewer signs of Alzheimer's in brain tissue. One brain-focused diet is called the MIND diets. Among the signs of Alzheimer's are sticky plaques and tangled up proteins within brain tissue. The study examined the brains of people who donated their bodies for scientific research, and it found those who closely followed the Mediterranean diet had lower odds of having enough plaque and tangles in brain tissue to be diagnosed with Alzheimer's.
The latest development in eye surgery is now available in Chattanooga. At 5, how you may be able to get back to 20/20 vision in our Eye on Health report.
And a 15-year-old in Middle Tennessee was killed in a windstorm. At 5, see how her parents are keeping her legacy alive.
Those stories and much more.
Cindy and I will see you right here at the top of the hour.
Local 3's basketball tournament coverage from Nashville is brought to you by Warren & Griffin, your local 5-star law firm.
The Tennessee Volunteers are in Nashville as we speak, taking on the Ole Miss Rebels in round 2 of the SEC tournament.
It's at halftime now, and our sports director, Ben Bobick, joins us live from Nashville. How's the game going so far, Ben?
Yes, indeed, David. It was a little bit close there in the first half, a little bit more for the likings of the Tennessee fans. Back and forth. Largest lead for Ole Miss was 6. Largest lead for Tennessee was 6, which is where we stand at this moment, 39-33. Big Orange with the lead over Ole Miss at halftime of their second round SEC tournament game. Josiah Jordan-James hitting a big 3 there at the end of the half to put them up 6. He's leading the Vols with 11 points. They're firing from beyond the arc today. 7 of 15. They've yet to be to the yet to go to the free throw line. So 0 of 0 from the charity stripe, but it looks like the long ball is flying. Now this is where it could be interesting here to start the second half. The Vols are either going to make this one, or it's either going to be close here to start the early portions of the second half, or Tennessee's going to have a chance to pull away with it. We'll find out second half about the tip-off here inside of Bridgestone Arena. We're outside of Bridgestone Arena. We'd like to say it was nice out, a little bit cold, but such is life. Vols are up 6. We'll check back in the next half hour. Live from Nashville, Ben Bobick, Local 3 Sports.
Hey, at least some good food nearby there, downtown Nashville. Thank you, Ben. And we are once again partnering with the Hamilton County Emergency Management Agency, programming weather radios. It's happening again a week from today. Warren and Griffin, you know, C-Mark, John Mark, those guys, they'll provide free batteries for the first 45 radios. It's all happening next Thursday, 2 to 7 at the Academy Sports and Outdoors at Hamilton Place.
And now, speaking of weather, let's send it over to meteorologist Clay Smith.
All right, Clay, what's next? Do we have more rain on the way?
Yeah, more rain tonight and Sunday. Fortunately, we're not going to be dealing with any severe weather, but with the weather radio event coming up soon and severe weather season approaching, it's just a good time to talk about this really quickly. Of course, we had that confirmed tornado, another confirmed tornado in Gordon County last Friday. Again, no severe threat this evening, but the National Weather Service and Peachtree City, or the Atlanta area, confirmed that an EF1 touchdown in Calhoun and Fairmount. It wasn't that impactful. It only damaged some trees and power lines, but there was a barn nearly destroyed, sadly, but fortunately no injuries. But again, this was another one of those confirmed tornadoes that we had back from Friday. Of course, we had 2 in Jackson County as well. So that was a very busy day. Fortunately, this Friday or tomorrow is going to be a lot calmer. So as we take a look at the current temperatures, 52 in Athens, 56 in Dalton, and 53 degrees in Altamont. So a nice cool March evening. Couple of light showers will be possible. Again, this is mainly just going to be drizzle for the rest of the evening. I don't anticipate any impactful rain coming until after about midnight as a cold front approaches from the west. You can see the system now moving across to the Ohio Valley. That's going to bring this cold front into the Tennessee Valley a little bit later tonight. So after midnight until about 6 a.m. on Friday morning, that's when we're going to have a better chance of rain. And there could even be a few downpours. Again, you can see some of that yellow starting to show up in Arkansas. This is going to be the batch of rain that gives us our best opportunity of some widespread rain tonight. But if you're heading out or heading home, I guess I should say, for your evening commute, just a couple of wet spots on the roadways, but no major weather related issues out there. And of course, rain chances will start to increase overnight, especially after about midnight. A few downpours possible, but overall, we're not going to have a ton of rain from this system. So as we track it out using your Futurecast, again, mainly drizzle and clouds for the rest of your evening. And then after midnight, we'll start to have some of these showers pushing in from west to east. Again, I don't think it's going to be a heavy rain kind of night, just some sporadic showers here and there. Could be a downpour that lasts 10 to 15 minutes, but notice the coverage is going to be highest across North Georgia and Northeast Alabama. And then by tomorrow morning, most of the rain is pushed off to the south. Just a couple of lingering showers between about 7 and 8 a.m. Eastern time across North Georgia. And then after that, the entire area starts to clear out. In fact, by the afternoon, we're going to have some sunshine, and Friday's going to turn out to be a very nice day. We're going to have a break in the rain Friday into Saturday, and then Sunday we're right back at it. So as we take a look at your Futurecast for the rest of the weekend, again, we're going to have a low pressure winding up. This is going to bring heavier rain to the area as we go into Saturday night and Sunday. Some snow to the north, but of course it's going to be just a little too warm for any wintry weather here across the Tennessee Valley. This low pressure continues to track across the southeast. Notice that blue showing up even into southern Virginia and maybe that northern tip of North Carolina. But again, this is going to be an all rain event for us here across the Tennessee Valley. Rain could be heavy throughout the day on Sunday, and then late Sunday night, most of the rain starts to move out of the area. So with your first system, maybe up to 1/4 of an inch, and that'll be through tomorrow morning. Second system, going to have a little more moisture, and we could pick up to an inch, maybe even 1.5 inches in spots. So it does look like Sunday is going to be the rainier day of the two. And now let's talk a little bit about the warmth. So I've made this graphic for January, February, and now March. It says March warmth. So it's been very warm since January. And so far this month, we've been about, well, close to 11 degrees above normal. The average high so far, 72, the average low, 49. So you're probably thinking, you know, a lot has already bloomed. So can I go ahead and plant my garden? Well, you might want to hold off on that, because typically in Chattanooga, now these numbers are a little bit different, especially for those rural communities, but our median last freeze, typically that last week of March, last frost, April 4th. So you probably want to hold off until after April 15th. That's usually a good rule of thumb, because again, we are going to have some cold nights. Saturday, maybe some patchy frost, but Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday especially, look at that, 29, and that's in Chattanooga. So it does look like we're going to have a couple of freeze events next week. So you don't want to plant those gardens just yet, and remember to bring in some of those potted plants. Also, we're going to spring forward this weekend, so you lose that hour of sleep, and then it turns just a little bit cooler next week.
Thank you, Clay. Nearly 2 million popular Yeti coolers and gear cases are being recalled due to the risk of magnets detaching and being swallowed. The Yeti Hopper M30 soft cooler 1.0 and 2.0 are being recalled. The cases and coolers have magnet-lined closures which can fail, resulting in detached magnets that could cause serious injury or death. You should stop using the product and contact Yeti for a refund or replacement.
The government is setting new guidelines that could help detect breast cancer sooner. The FDA will require mammogram providers to tell women if they have dense breasts. If so, a recommendation would be to consult a doctor for possible further screening, like an ultrasound following a mammogram. Women with dense breast tissue have a higher chance of developing breast cancer. That's about half the women age 40 and older with dense breasts in the U.S. The new FDA guidelines should be in place within 18 months.
Chattanooga Mayor Tim Kelly is trying to find cleaner ways to travel, and Amtrak is an option. Money for the rail system would come from the Corridor and Development ID program, part of President Biden's bipartisan infrastructure law. City leaders say the Climate Action Plan will provide access to a $500,000 grant. The Department of Transportation says train systems are better for the environment than cars.
Having alternative ways to get around our region takes more cars off the road, and that obviously leads to a carbon reduction.
Major cities like Nashville and Atlanta are working to go green. Mayor Kelly wants to preserve and protect Chattanooga's natural resources and reduce carbon emissions by the year 2050. These conversations are still in the early stages, and you can learn more at the public hearing scheduled for March 21st.
Tennessee Highway Patrol officers participated in a Tip a Cop fundraising event today at Chuy's. It was to raise money for the Special Olympics. The program provides year-round sports training, competition, health, and education opportunities for adults and children with intellectual disabilities. And several law enforcement agencies supported the cause by serving meals and collecting tips to benefit the athletes.
So anything that we can do to help participate and help bring some awareness to it, bring some funds, is what we want to do.
This is just one of several events agencies do to support Special Olympics. If you missed the lunch hour and would like to take part, they're having dinner there at Chuy's as well. So you can head over there between 5:30 and 7:30.